At dawn on May 10, 1508, Michelangelo Buonarroti climbed a scaffold in the Sistine Chapel. In his hands, he held not just brushes and pigments, but the weight of an ancient technique that would forever transform the history of art: fresco painting. In the heart of the Italian Renaissance, where artists sought perfection through the union of science and art, an ancestral technique resurged with extraordinary force. Like a race against time, where paint and lime danced in a precise choreography, the Renaissance masters elevated fresco to unprecedented heights. Picture this: the sacred silence of the Sistine Chapel broken only by the echo of footsteps and the soft scratch of brushes against wet plaster. The air thick with marble dust and the acrid scent of fresh lime. This was the daily reality for Renaissance artists who dared to master the unforgiving art of fresco. The technique demanded absolute precision and unwavering confidence. Once the fresh plaster was applied, artists had mere hours to complete their work before it dried. There could be no hesitation, no second thoughts. Each brushstroke had to be perfect, as corrections were impossible once the plaster set. Think of it as painting on a ticking time bomb. The plaster's chemical reaction with air began the moment it was applied, starting a countdown that would determine the fate of each section. This pressure created an intense focus that perhaps contributed to the transcendent quality of these works. Michelangelo, initially reluctant to accept the Sistine Chapel commission, being primarily a sculptor, would spend for years painting the ceiling. Working in an awkward position, paint dripping onto his face, he developed chronic neck pain and temporary vision problems. Yet his determination led to innovations in technique, including new ways to paint horizontally on curved surfaces. Meanwhile, the young Raphael, leading a large workshop in the Vatican stands, brought his own innovations to fresco painting. His management of assistants and development of efficient techniques allowed him to create complex compositions under the same time constraints. The legacy of these masters extends far beyond their time. Modern restorers have discovered their secrets through microscopic analysis, revealing the precise layering of plaster and pigments. What appears as a seamless composition actually consists of hundreds of individual sections, each representing a day's work, the giornate that tell the story of their creation. This revolutionary period in art history demonstrates how limitations can spark innovation. The very constraints of fresco painting, its unforgiving nature and demand for speed, pushed artists to achieve unprecedented levels of skill and artistic expression. 5 centuries later, these frescoes continue to captivate millions of visitors annually. Their durability is a testament to the perfect marriage of art and science that characterized the Renaissance. What began as a race against time has become timeless, preserving the genius of these artists for generations to come. The story of Renaissance fresco painting is not just about art. It's about human ambition, scientific innovation, and the eternal quest for perfection. It reminds us that sometimes the most enduring achievements come from embracing our limitations and transforming them into opportunities for greatness. Join us at Modern Age Chronicles for more fascinating stories from history that shape our understanding of art and culture. Like this video and subscribe to our channel to continue exploring the remarkable achievements of human creativity. The mastery of fresco painting during the Italian Renaissance was not achieved in isolation, but through the brilliance and dedication of remarkable individuals who pushed the boundaries of artistic achievement. Michelangelo Buonarroti stands as a towering figure in this narrative. When Pope Julius II commissioned him to paint the Sistine Chapel ceiling in 1508, Michelangelo initially resisted. Known primarily as a sculptor, he considered himself ill-suited for the task, famously writing to a friend, "I am not a painter." This reluctance stemmed from his deep-seated identity as a sculptor who drew life from marble. Despite his protests, Michelangelo's journey with fresco would transform both the artist and the art form itself. Working in an awkward position for 4 years, he developed innovative techniques to overcome the physical challenges of painting overhead. His body bore the cost of this endeavor. He developed severe neck pain and temporary vision problems from paint constantly dripping into his eyes. In his own words, his body became so distorted that he could not read a letter without holding it above his head. Raphael Sanzio emerged as another pivotal figure in fresco's evolution. A child prodigy from Urbino, he demonstrated extraordinary talent from an early age. By his mid-20s, he was already leading one of the largest artistic workshops in Rome. Raphael's approach to fresco painting differed markedly from Michelangelo's solitary method. He developed a sophisticated system of workshop management, delegating different aspects of the work while maintaining overall artistic control. The silent rivalry between these two masters drove innovation. While Michelangelo worked alone on the Sistine ceiling, Raphael and his team were creating equally magnificent frescoes in the Vatican stands. Their different approaches, Michelangelo's intense personal involvement versus Raphael's collaborative method, represented two valid paths to artistic excellence. Yet behind these celebrated masters worked an army of unsung heroes, the anonymous artisans whose skills were indispensable to the fresco-making process. Master plasterers prepared the crucial intonaco layer, their expertise determining how long the surface would remain workable. Pigment specialists ground and mixed colors according to closely guarded recipes, ensuring consistency across vast surfaces. Carpenter engineers designed and constructed the scaffolding that made these monumental works possible. Their ingenuity allowed artists to access high ceilings and curved surfaces safely. Apprentices performed the crucial task of transferring designs to the wet plaster using the spalvero technique, requiring both precision and speed. These anonymous craftsmen passed their knowledge through generations of workshop training. Their expertise in materials, from the selection of sand for plaster to the preparation of organic pigments, was as crucial to the final result as the artist's design. They understood the behavior of materials in different weather conditions and adapted their techniques accordingly. The collaboration between celebrated artists and skilled artisans created a golden age of fresco painting. While history remembers the names of Michelangelo and Raphael, their achievements rested on the foundation built by generations of anonymous craftsmen who perfected the technical aspects of this demanding art form. This period demonstrates how artistic innovation often emerges from the interaction between individual genius and collective expertise. The magnificent frescoes that survive today are testaments not just to the vision of great masters, but to the skilled hands of countless artisans who helped translate that vision into reality. Step into a Renaissance workshop during the creation of a monumental fresco, and you would encounter a sensory symphony that brought together art, craft, and raw materials in a unique atmospheric dance. Dawn breaks over a Renaissance chapel. The first rays of sunlight filter through stained glass windows, casting colored shadows across scaffolding that reaches toward heaven. The air carries a distinct cocktail of scents and sensations that define the fresco painter's daily environment. The sharp, unmistakable smell of fresh lime dominates the space. This acrid aroma, both fresh and ancient, signals the beginning of each day's work. It mingles with the fine marble dust suspended in the air, creating a misty atmosphere that catches the morning light in ethereal ways. Listen closely, and you'll hear the acoustic landscape of creation, the hollow echo of footsteps on wooden scaffolding, the scraping of trowels against plaster, the soft swish of brushes, and the murmured conversations of artists and apprentices. These sounds bounce off stone walls and vaulted ceilings, creating a cathedral of craft-specific acoustics. The walls themselves seem alive. Newly plastered sections radiate a cool dampness into the air, their moisture content carefully monitored by experienced craftsmen. Touch them, and you'll feel the smooth, cool surface of fresh intonaco, ready to receive pigments that will become one with the wall itself. The tools of fresco creation tell their own story of precision and tradition. Each implement serves a specific purpose in this time-sensitive art form. Mason's trowels, carefully selected for size and weight, glide across surfaces applying the crucial layers of plaster. These tools, with their worn wooden handles and polished metal surfaces, must move with both strength and delicacy to create the perfect foundation for painting. Brushes, primarily made from boar bristles, range in size from tiny detail tools to broad spreading brushes. Each brush type serves a specific purpose, some for broad color application, others for the finest details of faces and hands. Artists often made their own brushes, carefully selecting and arranging bristles to achieve their desired effects. Natural pigments, ground to a fine powder, rest in ceramic bowls, their vibrant colors promising the magic to come. These include earth tones from natural ochres, deep blues from precious lapis lazuli, and warm reds from cinnabar. Each pigment requires specific preparation and handling to maintain its intensity when mixed with the alkaline environment of fresh plaster. The transfer of designs onto wet plaster employs perforated cartoons, punctured preliminary drawings, and pounce bags filled with charcoal dust. This spalvero technique allows artists to accurately transfer complex designs quickly, a crucial advantage when working against time. Engineering precision tools complete the workshop arsenal. Plumb lines ensure vertical accuracy, while measuring ropes help maintain proportions across vast surfaces. Wooden compasses draw perfect arcs, and levels guarantee horizontal truth in architectural elements. Scaffolding, a crucial but often overlooked element, required sophisticated engineering. These wooden structures had to be both stable enough to support workers and materials, while being adjustable to access different areas of the work surface. The platforms included spaces for tools, pigments, and water, all within arm's reach of the artist. Light management played a crucial role. Craftsmen carefully positioned temporary lamps and reflectors to illuminate their work surface, while monitoring how the final painting would appear under natural light conditions. The interplay of natural light through stained glass windows had to be considered in color selection and application. This immersive environment represented a perfect marriage of practical necessity and artistic ambition. Every element, from the tools to the atmospheric conditions, had to be carefully managed to achieve the stunning results we still admire today. The creation of a fresco is a masterful dance between chemistry and artistry, where timing and technique must align perfectly to create works that have endured for centuries. First comes the arriccio layer, a rough coat of lime plaster mixed with coarse sand. This foundational layer must be carefully prepared to ensure proper adhesion and durability. The mixture typically consists of 1 part lime to 3 parts sand, applied roughly to create a textured surface that provides optimal grip for subsequent layers. Once the arriccio cures, the critical intonaco layer is applied. This fine, smooth coating of lime plaster mixed with marble dust represents the artist's actual painting surface. The composition must be perfect. Too wet and the pigments will run. Too dry and they won't bond properly. Master plasterers could tell the readiness of this surface by its subtle sheen and response to touch. The spalvero technique follows, a revolutionary method for transferring designs onto the wet plaster. Artists would prick their preliminary drawings, cartoons, with tiny holes, then pat charcoal dust through these perforations onto the fresh intonaco, creating a dotted outline of the design. This ingenious solution allowed for rapid, accurate transfer of complex compositions. The actual painting phase becomes a race against time. Artists must apply their pigments while the intonaco remains wet, typically within 6 to 8 hours. These pigments, mixed only with water, sink into the wet plaster. As the plaster dries, a chemical process called carbonation occurs. Calcium hydroxide in the plaster reacts with carbon dioxide in the air, forming calcium carbonate, permanently binding the pigments within the wall itself. The Giornate, day's work, system emerged as a practical solution to frescoes' time constraints. Artists divided large compositions into sections that could be completed in a single day. These divisions required careful planning. They needed to follow natural breaks in the design, such as architectural elements or figure outlines, to remain invisible in the finished work. Calculating drying times became a science in itself. Factors including temperature, humidity, air circulation, and plaster thickness all affected how long the surface remained workable. Master craftsmen developed an intimate understanding of these variables, adjusting their techniques accordingly with seasonal changes. The unforgiving nature of fresco meant that mistakes could not be corrected after the plaster dried. Artists developed various preventive strategies, including detailed preliminary drawings and careful color testing. When errors did occur, the only solution was to chip away the dried section and start anew, a costly and time-consuming process. Maintaining visual continuity across Giornate presented another significant challenge. Artists had to perfectly match colors and blend edges between sections completed on different days. They developed techniques for disguising the seams, such as placing them along natural shadow lines or architectural details. Color behavior in fresco painting required specialized knowledge. Some pigments, particularly organic ones, would change color or break down in the alkaline environment of fresh plaster. Artists learned which pigments were lime-proof and how different pigments might alter during the drying process. The thickness of the intonaco layer proved crucial. Too thick and it would crack, too thin and it would dry too quickly. Master plasterers developed a precise feel for the optimal thickness, typically applying it at about 5 millimeters deep. Environmental controls became part of the technical arsenal. Workers would sometimes hang wet cloths to maintain humidity levels, or carefully manage airflow to control drying times. In winter, braziers might be used to prevent the plaster from freezing, while in summer, work might be limited to cooler hours. Contemporary scientific analysis has revealed additional technical sophistication in Renaissance frescoes. Microscopic examination shows how artists varied their brushwork and pigment density to achieve different effects. Infrared photography has unveiled preliminary sketches and changes made during the painting process. Research has also uncovered evidence of experimentation with additives to the plaster, organic materials that might extend working time or enhance durability. These discoveries continue to inform both art historians and modern fresco restorers. Among the most illuminating historical documents are Michelangelo's letters, particularly those written during his work on the Sistine Chapel ceiling. In a famous correspondence to his father in 1509, he writes, "I live in great toil and great weariness of body, and have no friends of any kind and don't want any. I don't have enough time to eat what I need." These personal accounts reveal not just the physical demands of fresco painting, but also the psychological toll it took on artists. In another letter to Giovanni da Pistoia, he sketches himself painting the ceiling, accompanied by verses describing his contorted position. "My beard toward heaven, I feel the back of my brain upon my neck, my breast like that of a harpy." Such intimate documentation provides invaluable insights into the practical challenges of monumental fresco creation. Renaissance contracts for fresco commissions were incredibly detailed, providing precise information on materials, timeframes, and compensation. These documents outline the following: the quality and source of the required materials, payment schedules tied to completion milestones, requirements for preliminary drawings and approvals, responsibilities for scaffold construction and material preparation, and the division of labor between master artists and assistants. Workshop records offer insight into the complex organization of Renaissance workshops. Payment records from major projects document the purchases of raw materials like pigments and lime, wages for various assistants and craftsmen, transportation costs for materials, expenses for scaffold construction and maintenance, and payments for specialized tasks such as gold leaf application. Preliminary artwork, in the form of surviving cartoons or preliminary drawings, offers crucial information about the artistic process. These include full-scale preparatory drawings, studies for individual figures and compositions, color tests, and material experiments, along with technical notes and measurements. Modern analysis has provided new insights through microscopic examination, revealing multiple layers of pigment application, variations in plaster composition, different brush types and application methods, and chemical interactions between pigments and plaster. Journate analysis, using advanced imaging techniques, has illuminated the day-by-day progress of fresco creation. Infrared photography reveals the seams between journate, while computer mapping shows work sequences. Analysis of overlap patterns indicates specific painting strategies, and evidence of speed and confidence can be seen in the brush strokes. Recent restoration projects have offered new perspectives on Renaissance techniques. Cleaning has revealed original color choices, while structural repairs exposed the plaster composition. Conservation work identified original tools and methods, and damage patterns have shown common technical problems artists faced. Scientific techniques have enabled in-depth analysis of pigment composition and sourcing, plaster chemical composition, environmental factors influencing preservation, and the original application methods used by the artists. Advanced imaging technologies have also revealed previously hidden details. These include underlying sketches and changes, layer-by-layer construction methods, evidence of workshop practices, and corrections that were once invisible to the naked eye. Documentation also sheds light on the complex organization of Renaissance workshops, highlighting the hierarchy of workers and responsibilities, training methods for apprentices, quality control procedures, and the division of specialized tasks. Records show sophisticated networks for obtaining materials, including pigment trade routes and suppliers, local sources for lime and sand, tool makers, specialized equipment, and transportation and storage systems. Historical documents also reveal how large projects were managed, including seasonal working patterns, daily schedules, and workflows. Project planning and coordination strategies, along with deadline management, played a crucial role in meeting the ambitious demands of Renaissance fresco commissions. The legacy of these documents continues to impact modern fresco restoration techniques. Our understanding of Renaissance workshop practices, conservation methods, and contemporary fresco creation, ensuring that the traditions of the past remain influential today. The Renaissance fresco period set technical standards that would shape artistic practices for centuries to come. These groundbreaking innovations introduced systematic approaches to wall preparation, standardized pigment preparation methods, advanced scaffold design principles, and refined time management techniques for large-scale projects. By transforming fresco work from a craft into a science-based art form, these standards created methodologies that have remained relevant for hundreds of years. The Renaissance workshop system revolutionized the way artists were trained, creating a new generation of artists who combined technical expertise with creative vision. Structured apprenticeship programs, standardized technical training sequences, and the documentation of techniques and processes became central to artistic education. The integration of scientific principles with artistic practice allowed for a more comprehensive and rigorous approach to art training. This period also saw the birth of modern conservation science. Early restoration developments introduced the first documented restoration techniques, along with the development of cleaning methods, a deeper understanding of environmental impacts, and early preservation strategies. These foundational practices laid the groundwork for contemporary conservation efforts. Today's conservation techniques directly build upon the Renaissance foundations, incorporating advanced imaging technologies for analysis, chemical cleaning and stabilization methods, environmental control systems, and non-invasive investigation techniques. While modern conservation professionals continue to learn from Renaissance methods, they are also developing new technologies to improve preservation. The technical achievements of Renaissance frescoes continue to influence modern mural artists. Traditional techniques are adapted for use with contemporary materials, and classical composition principles are integrated into modern works. Understanding architectural space and managing large-scale projects are still central to the creation of murals today. Renaissance frescoes have also had a lasting impact on UNESCO World Heritage. These artworks hold exceptional cultural value, contributing to major tourist attractions that generate significant revenue. They also present research opportunities for art historians and scientists, serve as educational resources for art students, and act as powerful tools for cultural diplomacy. Modern analysis of Renaissance techniques has revealed the superior durability of traditional methods. The chemical principles behind pigment stability, the importance of proper surface preparation, and the environmental factors affecting preservation have become integral to contemporary understanding and practice. Digital technologies have allowed for unprecedented study and documentation of Renaissance frescoes. 3D scanning of fresco surfaces, digital color analysis, virtual reconstruction of damaged areas, and online access for global research are just some of the tools that have transformed the study of these masterpieces. Renaissance fresco techniques continue to have a significant influence on contemporary mural art, with sustainable material alternatives, environmental considerations in conservation, and digital planning tools becoming integral to the modern practice of fresco creation. Renaissance fresco studies have also had a profound impact on academic disciplines such as art history, conservation science, archaeology, and architectural preservation. Modern professional training in conservation combines traditional craft skills with scientific analysis methods, digital documentation techniques, and project management expertise. Economically, Renaissance frescoes drive significant activity through cultural tourism. Museum and site admissions, regional tourism development, conservation industry employment, and educational program revenue all benefit from these timeless works. Additionally, new careers in art conservation, historical research, technical analysis, and digital documentation continue to emerge. Emerging technologies are revolutionizing fresco study, with AI analysis of composition techniques, virtual reality reconstruction, predictive conservation modeling, and remote monitoring systems offering new possibilities for research and preservation. However, modern conservation also faces new challenges, such as the impacts of climate change, urban pollution, mass tourism pressure, and resource allocation. Current research in the field focuses on non-invasive analysis methods, preventive conservation strategies, digital preservation techniques, and mitigating environmental impacts. As these challenges evolve, the field will continue to innovate to preserve the legacy of the Renaissance for future generations. The Renaissance period marked an unprecedented revolution in both technical and scientific understanding, particularly in the fields of anatomy, perspective, and pigment chemistry. Anatomical studies flourished during this time, with artists like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo performing their own dissections, creating detailed anatomical drawings that deeply influenced their artistic practices. These dissection sessions, kept secret, informed the accurate representation of the human figure, allowing artists to develop proportional systems that revolutionized how the human body was depicted in frescoes and other artworks. Simultaneously, the development of perspective by artists such as Brunelleschi radically transformed visual representation. The application of mathematical principles to spatial representation allowed for the creation of convincing illusions of depth on flat surfaces. Optical studies and the integration of architecture and painting led to the development of ceiling frescoes that seemed to open into heaven, providing a stunning example of artistic innovation during this time. In the realm of pigment chemistry, scientific understanding advanced significantly. Artists began to experiment with creating new pigments, understanding chemical interactions, and developing new color combinations. These innovations improved the stability and vibrancy of colors, making it possible for artists to create more durable and expressive works. Engineering and architectural innovations also enabled the creation of more ambitious artistic projects. Advances in scaffold design, dome construction techniques, and structural support systems provided the necessary tools for artists to work on grand-scale projects. Environmental control methods were developed to preserve the integrity of materials, ensuring that these vast works of art would withstand the test of time. Artists' guilds played a crucial role in the Renaissance's artistic production. They set quality control standards, regulated training, and ensured the professional protection of artists. Guild systems ensured that artists had access to standardized training methods, quality material sourcing, fair competition, and opportunities for professional advancement. These guilds also regulated the market, allowing artists to navigate a complex system of commissions and patronage. The apprenticeship system, foundational to artistic training, helped artists progress from basic skill development to advanced techniques, ultimately allowing them to create their own masterpieces. Apprentices lived with their masters, learning through hands-on experience, with increasing responsibility and technical skill transfer. The structured progression ensured that each artist was prepared for the complex demands of the artistic world. Patronage, both papal and aristocratic, drove much of the artistic innovation of the Renaissance. The papal patronage was responsible for massive architectural projects, requiring theological programs, international artist recruitment, and substantial financial backing. Aristocratic patronage, on the other hand, fueled competition between families, with commissions for family chapels, palace decorations, and the desire for social status enhancement motivating artistic production. The Renaissance also saw a transformation in the social status of artists. Previously regarded as mere craftsmen, artists began to gain intellectual recognition. Their work brought them court positions, international fame, and wealthy patrons, elevating them in social status. This period marked the shift from local recognition to an esteemed position within intellectual and political spheres. The educational environment of the Renaissance was comprehensive, integrating classical text study, mathematical training, scientific observation, and philosophical education. Workshops during this time served as technical training centers, scientific laboratories, design studios, and business operations, merging art with intellectual pursuits. This period was marked by an intense exchange of knowledge, with traveling artists, pattern books, workshop networks, and international commissions spreading artistic innovations across Europe. Artistic success also allowed for social mobility. Artists could move from the lower classes to positions of influence, wealth, and political power. This success was intertwined with the complex economic frameworks that supported artistic production, including international trade networks, local material sourcing, specialized tool production, and workshop management. These systems allowed for the consistent flow of resources necessary for large-scale projects. In terms of labor organization, Renaissance workshops had structured hierarchies that included master artists, journeymen, apprentices, specialized craftsmen, and support workers. The economic structure of the time allowed for the development of art markets, including commissions from the church, private patronage, civic projects, and international trade. These markets played a pivotal role in the development of Renaissance art and its lasting impact. Religious influence during this period shaped iconographic programs, technical standards, project scale, and artistic innovation. The church's commissions played a key role in directing the artistic practices of the time, while cities, driven by civic pride, competed with one another through monumental projects, artist recruitment, and technological innovation, striving for cultural leadership and prominence in the arts. The art of fresco painting during the Italian Renaissance offers compelling questions and insights that resonate deeply with contemporary artistic practices and cultural preservation efforts. Time pressure in artistic creation shapes both process and outcome in fascinating ways. Renaissance fresco painters worked against the relentless hardening of wet plaster, forcing them to achieve perfection in mere hours. This pressure fostered extraordinary focus and innovation. Modern artists face similar time constraints, though different in nature. Consider film directors working with fleeting natural light, or performance artists creating ephemeral installations. These parallels invite us to contemplate how limitations often catalyze creativity rather than hinder it. The relationship between artistic vision and technical constraints remains relevant today. Renaissance masters developed innovative solutions to overcome the physical limitations of fresco painting. Michelangelo's technique for painting on curved surfaces revolutionized ceiling decoration. Similarly, contemporary artists push technological boundaries to realize their creative visions, from digital art to immersive installations. The marriage of technology and art preservation raises intriguing questions about authenticity and accessibility. Advanced imaging techniques now reveal hidden layers of Renaissance frescoes, uncovering preliminary sketches and artistic decisions that were invisible for centuries. This technological window into the past transforms our understanding of artistic processes, while raising questions about how much intervention is appropriate in preservation. Digital restoration techniques present both opportunities and ethical challenges. Virtual reconstructions can show us how frescoes appeared in their original glory, yet they prompt debates about historical accuracy and interpretation. The balance between preservation and presentation becomes increasingly complex as technology advances. The dialogue between traditional techniques and modern innovation reflects broader cultural questions. Renaissance fresco painters built upon ancient Roman methods while developing new approaches. Today's artists similarly navigate between historical techniques and contemporary materials. This continuity of innovation within tradition demonstrates art's evolutionary nature. Modern mural painting continues to evolve while maintaining connections to its fresco ancestors. Street artists create massive works that, like Renaissance frescoes, transform public spaces. Though using different materials, they face similar challenges of scale, architectural integration, and public engagement. Digital preservation efforts create new possibilities for studying and sharing art. Virtual reality reconstructions allow viewers to experience Renaissance spaces as they originally appeared. Online databases make detailed images accessible to scholars and enthusiasts worldwide, democratizing art appreciation in ways Renaissance masters could never have imagined. Public art preservation has become increasingly important as cities recognize the cultural value of their artistic heritage. Contemporary conservators face challenges similar to those who maintained Renaissance frescoes, but with added complications from modern environmental threats and urban development. The legacy of Renaissance fresco painting continues to inform contemporary artistic practice and cultural preservation. As we face new challenges in art creation and conservation, the innovative spirit of Renaissance masters remains inspiring. Their ability to merge technical precision with artistic vision, to work within constraints while pushing boundaries, offers valuable lessons for modern creative practitioners. This historical conversation between past and present reminds us that art constantly evolves while maintaining connections to its roots. The questions raised by Renaissance fresco painting about creativity, preservation, and innovation remain relevant, inviting each generation to contribute its own answers to these enduring artistic dialogues. The corridors of the Vatican buzzed with fierce competition during the Renaissance. The legendary rivalry between Michelangelo and Raphael shaped some of history's greatest artworks. When Michelangelo learned that Raphael had secretly viewed his unfinished Sistine Chapel ceiling, he became furious and blocked access to all visitors. This incident intensified their professional competition, driving both artists to push their creative boundaries further. Bramante, the papal architect, reportedly encouraged Pope Julius II to assign Michelangelo the Sistine ceiling project, knowing the sculptor's reluctance to paint. This political maneuvering was intended to embarrass Michelangelo, but instead resulted in one of humanity's greatest artistic achievements. Lesser-known feuds erupted over materials and workspace. Artists competed for the finest pigments, especially the precious ultramarine blue made from lapis lazuli. Workshop territories within the Vatican became contentious, with artists guarding their spaces jealously to prevent espionage of their techniques. The physical demands of fresco painting led to numerous accidents. Scaffolding collapses were not uncommon. One assistant fell to his death while working on the ceiling of Santa Maria Novella in Florence. Such incidents led to improved safety measures and scaffolding designs. Environmental challenges plagued the artists constantly. During one particularly humid summer, sections of fresh plaster refused to dry properly, forcing Michelangelo to destroy several days' work. In winter, freezing temperatures caused plaster to crack, requiring extensive repairs. The infamous sweating walls phenomenon occurred when moisture accumulated behind the frescoed surface. In several churches, this led to devastating damage, teaching artists and architects valuable lessons about wall preparation and ventilation. Workshop assistants' accounts reveal fascinating details about daily life during fresco creation. One apprentice described working through the night by candlelight to prepare pigments for the next day's painting. Another recorded the secret recipe for a particularly durable plaster mixture in his personal diary, which was discovered centuries later. The role of female assistants, though rarely documented, emerged through recent historical research. Several women worked as pigment specialists, their expertise in color preparation, highly valued though officially unacknowledged. Young apprentices often began their careers grinding pigments and preparing plaster. One assistant's memoir describes the strict hierarchy within workshops, where advancement depended not only on skill, but also on earning the master's trust with closely guarded technical secrets. Modern restoration efforts have uncovered surprising details about Renaissance fresco creation. During the Sistine Chapel restoration in the 1980s, conservators discovered Michelangelo's fingerprints in the plaster, providing intimate contact with the artist's process. Infrared scanning revealed extensive underlying sketches, showing how artists modified their compositions during painting. In some cases, entire figures were repositioned or removed, telling stories of artistic decision-making previously unknown. Chemical analysis of plaster layers exposed innovative techniques unique to specific artists. Raphael's workshop used a distinctive plaster mixture that included organic materials, possibly to extend working time. This discovery helped authenticate previously disputed works. Unexpected findings included small objects embedded in the plaster, coins, notes, and even small tools, perhaps accidentally dropped by workers or intentionally placed as time capsules. Hidden messages and private jokes came to light during restorations. In one instance, conservators found caricatures of rival artists sketched into areas meant to be covered by the final painting, revealing the playful side of serious Renaissance masters. Most significantly, restoration work revealed the true colors of many frescoes, hidden for centuries under layers of candle soot and dirt. The brilliant hues and subtle shading techniques amazed art historians, changing our understanding of Renaissance color theory and application. These behind-the-scenes stories enrich our appreciation of Renaissance fresco painting, reminding us that these masterpieces emerged from very human circumstances, full of competition, accidents, innovation, and dedication. They transform our view of these works from static masterpieces to dynamic creations born of complex social and technical interactions. Renaissance fresco painting indeed represents far more than an artistic technique. It stands as testimony to a remarkable moment when art and science merged to create something eternal. The walls of the Sistine Chapel and Vatican stands contain not merely pigments and lime, but the culmination of an untiring quest for perfection that continues to inspire us 5 centuries later. These magnificent works embody the Renaissance ideal of uniting theoretical knowledge with practical skill, demonstrating how human creativity can transcend technical limitations to achieve timeless beauty. Their endurance serves as a testament to both the technical brilliance of their creation and the universal power of their artistic vision. The legacy of Renaissance frescoes extends beyond their artistic achievement, teaching us about the value of patience, precision, and perseverance in pursuing excellence. They remind us that greatness often emerges from the confluence of inspiration, technical mastery, and unwavering dedication to craft.